We're gonna go from this to this. Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to upgrade your horrendous big orange pumpkin blinkers that they give us on these beautiful bikes. Why, I don't know, since they put beautiful ones on other models. I guess they want to save that dollar. But anyway, we're going LED. You have a wide variety of LEDs if you want to do this. Now this procedure is specifically going to be about the optional Yamaha LED blinkers, but the same procedure is going to apply for any of them out there. Now I'm going in the stock locations. There are some other options you can do. For example, there are optional aluminum side radiator guards that you can put blinkers direct into. There are also flush mounts if you don't want them sticking out at all. They have some that just are a tiny little light. I actually like more visibility. I'm in between having these huge things and having nothing visible at all. So I'm okay with something sticking out. That's going to be personal preference. There are two things that you want to look at when shopping for them, however, and they are quite important. Number one, do your research, because even though it's aesthetically pleasing just to get something that looks cool and different, look at the reviews and make sure they put out a good brightness. There are a lot of variances out there between the really cheap $5 Chinese sets that, man, you're going to have a hard time seeing from 20 feet away, and then something really high quality that does its job of letting other people, especially cars, know that, hey, I'm here, I'm turning, look at me, I'm blinking, okay? Don't cheap out, do your research on the brightness. That's critical. The other thing is simply functionality-wise. This model has what's called daytime running lights, meaning that when the bike is on, your front indicators are always on amber. You don't need to do that. Of course, check your local laws. Here it's not a driving requirement. Not all bikes have it. I don't like it, so I'm not going to use that feature. Now, when you're ordering the Yamaha optional blinkers, by the way, these are not available in the US. Yamaha, what the hell? It's yet another feature. There are, seriously, if you're in the US and you've got an FZ09, you probably are unaware of 10 or 15 parts that are available for our bike just because our US dealer catalog doesn't carry them. You have to look at Canada, Australia, Europe. There are a bunch of other parts out there from Yamaha for this bike. These are one of them, and they actually have two different sets. They have LED blinkers, which are just straight blinkers. And by the way, they don't even come stock on the bikes in those other countries. They still make you upgrade and they still put these ugly things on there, but at least you can order them from any dealer over there. You can't even order these from a US dealer. Sometimes Yamaha will do that. You can order overseas parts from your local dealer network, but in this case they couldn't even pull up these part numbers to order, so I actually had to go online and order these from an overseas site and wait 2 weeks. It sucked. But here's the thing, they have LED blinkers, which are plain blinkers. And this is what you would definitely use in the back. If you do not want the daytime running lights, you just order two sets and you use another set for the front. If you do want the daytime running light feature, they have one called LED Blinkers Plus. That's the only difference. The Plus has the daytime running light feature. So these are technically a complete kit. There's everything in here. They are, I think there's one solder connection for each light, but that's it. Other than that, they come with brackets, so you can bolt them on exactly like the stock set here. That's what I wanted. I wanted a nice, clean OEM look. Cool. They also have resistors. Here's the thing with LEDs, really quickly. Your bike electrical system, as far as the blinkers go, works off what's called resistance. That's how much electrical load, think of it as heat, is put off by each light bulb. Stock system is 4 halogen light bulbs. They put off a certain amount of heat. They have a certain amount of electrical resistance. Up here is your flasher relay. This is the little box that actually turns the lights on and off and makes them flash physically. It operates the stock unit electronically by measuring the resistance in the circuit, all 4 lights added up, hits a certain value, turns it off, turns it back on, lets it hit, turns it off, turns it back on, rinse and repeat. That's all it does. Okay, it's a flasher relay. That's what it's called. It's not a smart flasher relay. It only works with 4 halogen bulbs. They must be halogen bulbs. There must be 4 of them. Otherwise, you get different blink rates because it has a fixed value for what resistance it's looking for. So if a bulb burns out, you get a fast flash, you know something's up. Likewise, if you stick an LED in one or more of the spots, because the LEDs are very efficient, that's one of the huge benefits to LEDs over halogen bulbs. They don't use a lot of electricity at all. They're very efficient. They have very low electrical resistance. So it basically thinks you have a bulb burned out if you swap one to an LED, or all of them. So your flash is all screwed up. The resistors in here go in line with the wiring, and they basically waste electricity. That's their entire function, is to waste electricity and heat up to mimic a halogen bulb being in there so that your bike flashes at the normal rate. Well, that's the sloppy way to do it. The better way to do it is to replace your flasher relay with a smart electronic unit. And I've already done that. That's what's in here right now. I'll show you how to swap that out real quick in a second, get you a close-up. Takes you 5 seconds to do it. Benefit of that is it doesn't matter what lights you have installed, it will flash them at the correct rate always. You could have 2 halogens and 2 LEDs, you could have 1 LED and 3 halogens, you could have all halogen, you could have all LED. It doesn't care. It flashes all at the same good rate no matter what. That's what you need for LEDs. That way you don't have to mess with any of the resistors. You simply plug your new lights in, swap this unit in, and you're done. That's what I'm going to do. So let me show you how to pop out and replace your flasher relay. And by the way, this was only, I think, 15 bucks. I got it from TNT Industries, I believe. I'll put the link below. And that's it. Now these, I will put the part number below, and I'll put the part number to the LED Blinker Plus in case you want that daytime running light in the front. But again, you'll have to Google and find the best deal you can. It's going to depend on when you're trying to order it and where you are in the world, what your conversion rate is, what your shipping cost is, yada yada yada. They're not cheap. That's the other downside, but they're OEM, and I'm willing to go pay a little bit more for a great look, perfect functionality, and plug and play with all the brackets. Good to go, one package done, for not that much more than the aftermarket's out there. So we popped off the seat, and right behind the battery here, the stock unit is black. The new one I have in there is gray, just so you can see it here. It's just sitting on a little rubber mount. Pull the rubber mount straight up, and just slides off a little post. And it's got a little latch that you just pry up over the edge of the rubber. And it's a little tough to see, but there's a little tiny plastic latch. There's any slack in this cable, so I can't get you the right camera angle, but you can see it here. You just pull that up, slide it off, plug and play. When you order these for your bike, in case you're doing this project for another bike, there are 2 types. There's a 2 and a 4 pin. And you just look in your connector and you count the number of pin connectors. Most bikes are going to be 2. This is a 2. To install it, just plug it in, put the mount back on the post, and you're done. And you can do this at any time, even if you are running these stock lights like I am now. I've had this in since first day I got the bike. And it works completely perfectly with whatever you have installed. That's all there is to the relay. So here are the new units. Absolutely beautiful designs. Less than half the size. I mean, really not even close to the originals in depth or profile. I mean, it's dramatic. These whole units are smaller than just the orange section of the originals. And they give you these brackets to make sure you have a perfectly clean mount. Awesome. First step, removing the old ones. And by the way, they give you no instructions for actually installing them. They just tell you the assembly rundown and how to wire in the resistors, but absolutely nothing about getting it on the bike. Step one, same as the how to remove the fuel tank and get to the air filter video, is removing these side panels that say FZ09. Yours might say MT09. You've got one bolt here and two push connectors on the inside. One right up here. One, there it is. One right down there, same as the other side. Remove those. Pull the panel straight back out. There's a post on a grommet right in the center, and the whole thing just clips right off. Okay, now with the panel off, we can see our wiring and our connectors. Now on the 2017 here, we have this exposed weather protected sheathing. We want to keep that. We're going to reuse that. So our kit is fairly universal and it just has raw wires coming out of it. We're going to run those through the sheathing, or you could of course, you know, make your own, whatever you want to do there. Maybe you want to color coordinate. Doesn't really matter. This little gray guy over here, he's just usually snapped in. That is our connector. The wire comes up from the light, just tucks up underneath this piece against the frame, comes around the back, loops back through a hole here, just makes like a little half knot and connects in. You can do this many different ways. I think the easiest way for me is just to simply cut this entire connector off. Got two Allen bolts here, one on the top and one of the bottom of the light bracket. Make sure you catch the washers on these screws. And we can take off our decorative panel. And we have two 10mm bolts to remove here. And our whole assembly comes off. Now, a couple important notes. The wiring color coming into the connector is different than going out of the connector. Coming from the bike is the only side we're concerned with. We have black, dark, and light brown. Black is our negative, dark brown is our flasher positive. That's what we're going to connect to our signals. And if you're using the daytime running light feature, the light brown is your positive. So I just cut back the rubber sheathing a little bit, stripped off just enough ends to fit into the new bullet connectors, and I will not be using the light brown, so it's just going to sit there. On our actual stock unit here, what I find is to get that off easiest is to simply take a pair of needle nose and push the very center pin through. Just grab the center only. A little awkward angle here from the camera only. It doesn't take much. And then we can pop him off, free the wire, and it just stays there like kind of half a zip tie. On the back, this is just clipped in with these rubber pieces. So just bend them off the tabs of this bracket. And again, awkward just because of the camera angle. That just pulls off. And then way down inside there, hopefully you can see it, there's a little nut. And it looks like it's probably an 8mm. Spin that off, and our whole unit comes apart, and then we start reassembly. Now here you've got a few choices to choose from. You can either directly solder the wires to the bike, or use butt connectors. Downside there is your new lights won't be removable. You'd have to cut them again. So obviously I want them removable just like the stock units. Problem is I want to reuse that OEM sheathing because it looks great. It's a high gloss black. It's meant to be seen on this bike. The sheathing material that comes on the new lights isn't. It's utilitarian. It's a dark gray. It's not gloss. It's got the ugly writing on it. It just looks like crap. I don't want that seen. I want to use this stuff. Well, the problem is now we've got to snip off the bullet connectors off the new lights in order to feed the wires through the OEM sheeting. So we're going to need new female and male end connectors. Make sure you get them for a very small gauge wire. I believe this is 22 gauge. It's really tiny. And here's my big tip for feeding your lines through the sheathing. Trimmer line. Push it through the opposite way. Just tape your new wires to it. Slide it on through. So now with our stock pieces here, we need to remove these rubber mounts and just kind of roll the lip on the inside and pop it out. And this will get us a nice flat surface to mount the new signals to right here. So here's the assembly order for this whole mess. We've got the stock trim piece here. Goes on the bike like that. And if you're wondering how to align the lights, they go in line with the two curves in the unit. You can do that right when we go to tighten it down. All right, first thing through is the larger adapter with the little hump. Hump goes to the outside. Feed your wires through. Then that goes through the unit from the outside. Then the other adapter with the flat side facing the bike. Feed that through. Then the nut, and we can cinch this all down, just hand snug. We'll get it perfectly aligned and then use a wrench on it. And I'm just eyeballing straight down the ridge here to the center of the curve in the body piece. That looks really good right there. Of course, you can tweak it by hand just a little bit even after it's snugged down. All right. Now I'm just going to put a wrench on there, tighten that down. Now the right side requires the tank to come off because the connection point is up underneath the tank. It's not showing just underneath this panel. So it's only 4 bolts and a little prep. Let's go do that now. Now you can wire however you like, of course. I ran mine a little snugger than stock because we did gain some slack from moving that piece out of the way. So I just think it's a nice tighter fit. I took off the little blue piece of tape, which ended up being about up there. Of course, just tape a little bit to insulate your connectors, or you can use tubing, you know, whatever. It depends on if you're permanent or removable, like me. And of course, function check before you button up too far. Nice. So let's see if, yeah, you can see the brightness difference there. So they are brighter than stock for sure. Oh, and it looks so much better. All right, let me get this buttoned up, get the other side done, and we'll do the rear. Now for the right side, we have to remove or at least have somebody hold up the tank because the connector on the other side is actually under the tank, not under the side panel. It's just hidden right up in here. I've got a video where I already detailed how to go through all that, so I will link it in the description and put a little pop-up here. If you don't know how to do that, watch that. And then this right side is exactly the same as the left as far as all the wiring. Now let's get to the rear. Now for the rear, we can do this the hard way, but I'm going to show you the easy way. Man, doesn't that make a huge difference? Oh, I'm loving it. Okay, so the hard way is by the book. Taking this whole rear end clip off. You've got 6 bolts on the top. You've got 4 bolts on the bottom and 7 push pins on the bottom. Take off the red panels, slide off the black panel. Then you've got 4 bolts to take this seat latch assembly off, and then you can get to the wiring connectors, which are here, and feed them on through and yada yada yada. Same thing as the front. By the way, the right side positive signal wire is green. I don't remember if I mentioned that. I'll have to remember to put it up earlier in the video when I edit. But here's the easy way. Because we are getting rid of these rubber extensions, we've got slack. So all we have to do is take out the Phillips screw that's right under here that you can't see because it's just kind of buried. Is a Phillips screw. Holds on the bottom part of this plastic cover. Take that off, and we're just gonna yank it out of the housing snip the wires right here. Bada bing, bada boom, we're in business. And there we go. All done. Oh man, that looks so much better. That is how the bike should have been delivered. Pure and simple. God, just transforms the look of this bike. Makes it look decades newer. Perfect. Love it. Well worth the money. These particular blinkers aren't cheap, but boy do they look good. They are super bright. High quality, nothing wrong with them whatsoever. Beautiful. Well, I got some cleanup in the garage here to do, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Wow, initial mods on the bike are now complete. This was the last thing I was waiting for. Nice. So there you go, guys. Hope this helps somebody. If you're looking to install these particular blinkers, I highly recommend them. All you need is a little connection kit, and you're good to go, man. If you're installing anything else, same procedures. So I just wanted you to see where the wiring is and everything and what the colors are for the 17 here. So you can do whatever you want. Oh, I gotta put that side panel back on. Where did that go? Where did that go? I just had it. Oh no. That was just a glare on the light. I thought I saw a big white wire hanging there. It looks like it doesn't. Oh, you can't see it. Yeah. You can see it on the camera there. That's just a glare. There's nothing there. I thought I was missing that red side panel. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I buttoned that up. Anyway, I'm going to go take a spin here and enjoy it. See you guys.